Welcome back to MMA Now. I'm Nisi, and I'm here with a special guest, Matt Brown. Say hi, Matt.
Hello.
And today I'm going to ask you 10 questions. They're going to be really simple, really quick. So the first question is, how many fights do you see yourself doing in the UFC from this point forward?
I don't know, to be honest. I do it one fight at a time, but I've always done one fight at a time. So, could be 10, could be 1.
Do you usually research a fighter before going in the cage, or do you just show up and just fight them no matter who they are?
That's changed throughout the years. I used to research a lot and really study them, and I think I overstudied them. So now what I do is I watch the basics and I try to get just what, are they southpaw, are they conventional, are they a wrestler, and try to get just some basics. So what do they favor, and then just go from there.
Awesome. What do you listen to before going into your fights?
In the locker room, actually, my favorite song is Shine On, You Crazy Diamond by Pink Floyd, because it's 25, 30 minutes long, and it kills at 25, 30 minutes. It's very calm, relaxing song, and it's, just the thought, shine on, go out there and do your thing. So it's, kind of good meditative music for that. But sometimes I'll listen to, positive affirmation type stuff. And then sometimes, I keep it very dynamic. I'm not set on I am going to listen to this, right? Sometimes classical music, just anything to keep the nerves down and chill and get your mind off the fight.
So I know a lot of people who listen to motivational. Do you have a specific person that you'll listen to, or is it just kind of whatever you find on YouTube?
Yeah, so it's kind of whatever I find on YouTube, to be honest. But in terms of motivational, I don't really listen to that. I'm not really big on the motivational speech stuff. Nowadays with social media, I follow a lot of motivational people, and you certainly get little clips here and there. But I take most of that stuff as it's not going to do something for you today. You have to implement it daily into your daily routine, and if I can do that, then those little steps will pay off that night.
Who is someone that you would love to fight? It could be from the past or now.
Bruce Lee.
I love that, because one of my questions is actually, how do you think Bruce Lee would do in the UFC? So let's just jump to that question.
That's why I'd want to fight him, to prove that he would do terrible. It's just a different generation altogether. So he come in the 50s and 60s. The evolution of the sport has gone so far beyond what he could have even imagined. He certainly had the right philosophy, and had he been born in this day, it might be completely different. But I'm talking about the Bruce Lee of that era. I guess 70s, right? Not 50s and 60s, but the Bruce Lee of that era doesn't have a chance. Now, if he was born in, the 90s, could be completely different.
Do you have a specific fighter that you like right now? Is there anyone that sticks out to you that you like to watch?
Myself.
No, I love that.
No. I don't watch nearly as much MMA as I do Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, wrestling, all these other sports. So I could go through each sport, in Muay Thai, my favorite to watch right now, it was probably Tao Chai. I was going to say Super Bomb was certainly at the top. He just got knocked out last night, though. So not that makes me not want to watch him any less, but that's my favorite sport to watch. And then when I'm watching wrestling, I love watching Tank, Sajulayev, but he keeps beating my boy Kyle Snyder, which I want to see that not happen anymore. But in boxing, I love watching. I'm trying to narrow it down. There's so many guys. The Charlo brothers are freaking amazing. In boxing, I love watching the Charlo brothers. Gennady Golovkin's been my favorite for a long time, but he hasn't really been fighting much lately. Up and coming, there's so many guys. Inoue, Vasyl Lomachenko. Inoue is probably my favorite, though. I just had to narrow it all down in my head to name some names. But Inoue, man, he's amazing. I guess if you're talking about specifically MMA, there's probably not like one guy that I just love watching the most, because there's so many different styles.
Would you say that the fighters in UFC are like a community, or is it more like every man for himself?
Every man for himself. It's a lion's den. We're all lions and we're all trying to eat.
What are your thoughts on Stephan Bonnar passing, and like just how his fight with Forrest Griffin kind of like, boosted the UFC?
Yeah, well, I mean, that was the fight that changed the game for every one of us, and that's why I'm sitting here today the way that I am. So all respect to Stephan and Forrest for that, and we're all very thankful to those guys for that fight. With that said, I knew Stephan a little bit, not really well, but, we would say hi or whatever when we seen each other. I trained with him a couple of times, and he was a good person, I think, and I think he was meant well. His life was certainly headed the wrong direction the last few years, and all I can say is I hope that whether it's his death or, it's going to happen a lot more. There's going to be more people go down the path. We see with like Phil Baroni now, and we don't know if it was from CTE or whatever, but, with all sports, I think the NFL is dealing with it, and old boxers, MMA is coming around where these guys, we've lived a certain lifestyle for a long time. Certainly got some damage from that time, and hopefully we can hopefully there's some help out there for guys that need it when they're done doing this. And I think I don't know the particulars of the situation, but I think that Stephan could have used some help, and maybe his life would have lasted longer and maybe done some positive things in the world.
What do you think about Phil Baroni's whole situation and how his girlfriend died?
I didn't know Phil, so I can't say much about that. I only know the situation from hearsay and the news, so I know as much as you do about it. With that said, again, if it was a CTE thing, I just hope that there's somebody out there doing things to help, and I would gladly be a part of it. I'm not well-versed enough on things like that to start anything on my own, but if there's someone out there doing it, I would be glad to be a part of it.
This is my last question concerning other people, but what are your thoughts on the whole Dana White situation with his wife on New Year's Eve?
I have a lot of thoughts on that, and I could probably go on pretty long about it. And, it's a complicated situation. I don't think it's as simple as people are making it out to be. Yes, his wife shouldn't have hit him, and I think that shouldn't be excused. But I'm not at all that guy that's like, he was justified to hit her back either, and he said it his damn self. So I don't know why anyone is saying that that's okay. I'll leave it at that for now.
Okay, so he kind of went on and said, like, what is suspending me for a month going to do? Like, that hurts the fighters. It doesn't hurt me. Do you think that he should, be punished by the UFC? Do you think he should have to sit out? What do you think about that?
I don't agree with him on that. I think that's propaganda. I don't know what you would expect him to say, right? Like, I think Dana has said all the right things, so credit to him for that. I think he has said all the right things. I think saying there's no defense for it is the correct thing. Hopefully he actually means everything that he's saying. It seems that he is. My question would be, why is no one else doing anything about it? And it puts them in between a rock and a hard place too. Endeavor, Ari Emanuel, and his crew puts them in a sticky situation. That's why this really would probably require like a whole podcast to kind of unpack and break down the whole thing. But I say shame on them for not doing anything, because regardless of whether Dana was right or wrong, which he was obviously wrong, which he admits to being wrong, no one's doing anything about it, and that's wrong. So again, it's not a simple situation, because I understand that Endeavor, ESPN, the UFC themselves, everybody is in a sticky situation, but I also think that that's part of being a leader, is dealing with those hard situations in a manner with integrity, and I don't see anyone doing that right now, except for Dana. To be honest, he's the only one, kind of saying the right things.
So on that, I was kind of thinking about how like he kind of scolded a lot of fighters for, altercations like this. And so like you keep saying, he's saying the right things, but do you think that he should be apologizing to the fighters as well for how he treated them in these situations?
I'm in no position to say that, but I mean, he said himself, there's no excuse for it, and he has never excused anyone else for it. But I also wouldn't like expect him to punish himself either, right? That'd be kind of ridiculous. It's again, so I look around him and say, why is no one else doing anything about it? And that to me is a bigger problem. Like I said, he said all the right things. He said there's no defense for it. There's no excuse for it. I was wrong. I have to live with it, which is not really a punishment, but he's like, I have to live with it. And I assume that he's saying those same things. That's all I can do, right? I'm not in the meetings, but I would assume he's saying the same things in the meetings with the higher ups. And they're saying, okay, cool, Danny, you said the right thing. See you later. Let bygones be bygones. And, again, I don't agree with that. And that's, when you take on a leadership role like that, when you're running a business like Ari is and those guys, and I don't know Ari either, so I can't really comment on his personality or what type of leader he is, but that's to me what being a leader is. You have to make those hard decisions, and I don't see anyone making it. ESPN's not really in a position to do anything, right? Because their bottom line will be affected, right? They want, it's just again, it would take a long time to kind of unpack the whole thing, and I think there's probably people better at it than me, but that's so the short story of it, and my own opinions is why is no one else doing anything when other people would be punished for it, obviously, and other people have been punished for it.
So I know that you still see yourself fighting in the UFC. A couple more fights. You said possibly whatever happens. What else do you have going on outside of UFC fights? What else is going on in like your personal life?
Where do I start? And that's really when I say maybe 1, maybe 20, right? Because I'm adding a lot of things in my personal life, other businesses, because I know that it might only be 1. It might be 0, right? Who knows? It could break my back tomorrow, get in a car wreck. Tomorrow's not promised. So, I can't rely on something like that. And I want to take care of my kids, and fighting isn't going to take care of your kids. So anyway, with that said, I have a gym business. I have the Immortal Coffee, theimmortalcoffee.com, shameless plug. I have a couple Airbnbs I own, real estate. What else? Obviously, I have my kids that I deal with and love to death. That's that takes up 90% of my time right there. But I'm coaching a lot of guys, training a lot of guys, working on some online instructionals, working on building the online brand better. And ultimately, the goal with all that is to just help the next generation, right? And that's what inspires me and gets me up every day and keeps me moving. I have my own kids, and so being able to provide a positive role model for the next generation, and a masculine role model, not a, a lot of these role models they have are very problematic, and what we're seeing right now is a lot of, particularly like on the Andrew Tate situation, right? Like this guy is like the fucking role model, right? Like why is this is ridiculous, and he's not a good person by any stretch of the imagination, and this guy was become the version of masculinity, right, that our kids are seeing. So they're seeing an extreme on one end, and then tons of extreme on the other end, and I think that the discipline and respect, integrity, and values of the martial arts should be brought back and brought into kids' lives a lot more.
So I know I said the last one was my last question, but I kind of want to throw in this question. Do you think that you have CTE? Do you think that all those hits in the head have affected you in some way?
I have a hard time imagining that it hasn't. But to be fair, I'm a part of the Cleveland Clinic study of a lot of athletes. I haven't been there for a few years. I need to get back to it. But last time I went 2 times, and they were like 3 years apart. And my brain had actually gotten better since the first time. So maybe I'm actually getting smart. Maybe I'm like a wine, getting better with the old age. But I also think I've just been very blessed too. I don't know what it is. Like I just got a hard head and been very lucky and fortunate that my brain has held up as well as it has. I don't think it's been problematic for me, but I don't think the person dealing with the injuries and concussions is necessarily the best person to ask whether it's hurting them either, right?
All right, one more bonus question. So what do you think about Jake Paul? Is that someone you would see yourself boxing? How do you think that would go?
Yeah, I would box Jake Paul. I think anybody would. There's a lot of money there, so we all would. Obviously, I would smash him. I've been doing this a long time, and I'm a good boxer, not like the guys that he's boxed. So I think that would go pretty badly for him. But he is getting better very quickly. You know, I'm not gonna minimize what Jake Paul has done. He's actually looking pretty good as a boxer, and the problem is we just haven't seen him fight someone that actually knows how to like really box really well. So yeah, so hopefully, you know, we get to see him in MMA now. He's going over to the PFL, so I'm going to do some things with them that could be a great thing for fighters potentially. I really don't know the ins and outs of the situation, but it seems like he's trying to do some good things for the fighters. And you know, you just always have to question Jake Paul's intentions in the long run, right? And that's where it gets a little bit muddy, like the waters get a little bit muddy, and you're not really sure, you know, what exactly does he want out of all this, right? Is his intentions pure as he says they are? And maybe they are, maybe not, but you know, he's causing ripples, and that's always a good thing, no matter what, I think, for business.
All right, well, that's it for today. Thank you for joining us on MMA Now. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to our channel. If you want to go ahead and tell your socials real quick so they can find you on there, that'd be great.
I am the Immortal, Twitter and Instagram. I don't know what my Facebook is. The Immortal Matt Brown, I think.
See you next video. Bye.